Welcome to this edition of Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. It's April 9, 2026, and there are some significant changes you'll want to take a look at here with the extended forecast. A kind of a backing up of the flow will encourage even longer periods of severe weather early next week. I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. Let's take a look at the details. Well, we'll start things off with today's outlook, Thursday, and this has been increasing a little bit over the last couple of days. There's now a level 2 risk for much of central northern Kansas up to just a small corner of Nebraska and also around St. Joe up there in Missouri, and that's for much later this evening, I think, with a level 1 risk actually circling all the way back down to the Texas Panhandle. So this is 2 out of 5 on the risk scale for the SPC to issue this on. Is there a tornado risk? A slight one. There's a 2% chance in this area here, basically in the core of that slight risk. I think this would be in the evening pretty much. It's going to take a little bit to get that going. The hail risk is definitely there in that slight risk category. We have a 15% chance of hail. Remember, severe hail is defined as 1 inch in diameter or larger hail falling. There's a wind risk too with this. Again, not a whole lot of a surprise here, just a little tweak to the same basic area as we've been showing you here with, again, a 15% chance of severe winds, 59 miles per hour or greater. So here's a CSU, Colorado State University, issues this wonderful product. This is a machine learning product. So it basically takes past events that look like what's going on, and then it inputs the latest model projection and comes up with this. So no tornado risk from them. Hail risk in about that same area, maybe more to the south. Wind risk, not too excited about. And Nadocast, which does basically the same kind of thing, just a slight variation, does than the CSU model. And this has a 2% risk, again, in the core of that, from central Kansas up into around the St. Joe area. And I wanted to show you the HRRR simulated radar. Also, I've included UH greater than 75. UH is updraft helicity. It just means, is this thing rotating at its core, these thunderstorms, which would define a supercell? I see one little one right there, and many of these could do that. So I guess in theory, you could get organized structure here. But for tornadoes, the low-level wind field is there, but I'm a little concerned about if there's enough instabilities to support these for very long. And it would be evening. Notice that this map is valid at 9 p.m. So I think it would mostly be after dark that any activity occurs. Let's turn the page to Friday. This has really been unchanged for the last couple of days, from southwest Missouri, northwest Arkansas, due west to Colorado and north Texas. A level 1 out of 5. I think this is primarily going to be a hail threat north of a stalled front. And again, no tornado risk really of any consequence, or really wind according to CSU, but a little bit of a hail risk. And that matches with my thinking pretty well. Let's take a look now at Saturday. This is the beginning salvo, if you will, of several days of possibly significant severe weather. A little devil in the details stuff starting to show up. But let's start with Saturday, where the upper level winds will start to increase across the high plains of Texas, and a dry line will begin to set up. The forcing for this is not fantastic, but there's something about West Texas that seems to get the job done for severe weather. Interestingly, if I take a look at CSU's forecast, for Saturday, it puts a tornado risk up here from Lincoln up to Sioux Falls and in northwest Iowa. This, I think, is a reflection of the fact that we have maybe more favorable low-level wind structure with low pressure up here. The question is always, I think, the amount of instability this far north. And we'll come back to that when we show you subsequent forecasts here. The wind risk is up where those tornado forecasts are, and the hail risk is a pretty broad brush from Canada to Mexico. Now, turn the page to Sunday. This whole thing shifts east a little bit. Still a 15 out of 30 out of 15% chance of any severe weather within 25 miles of any point. Wichita down to Texas. This, again, is largely unchanged from yesterday's forecast, and it's just a reflection of the fact that the upper level pattern is shifting, although slowly. In fact, amazingly backwards. I'll show you that in a minute. Here is, again, the combo chart that shows the SPC forecast I just showed you, plus what CSU thinks. CSU always has a bias to put higher probabilities of severe weather more to the north, because I think the SPC looks for instability and shear, obviously. I think they think that the instability won't be there. The shear probably will be. Those are two key ingredients to getting any severe weather to get organized and produce supercells, which is really the name of the game. If you get a supercell, well, a cell that doesn't kill itself, doesn't choke itself with its its own downdraft and can maintain itself for a long enough period of time to develop large hail, to develop tornadoes, to develop these type of things. That's what you're looking at. So this is what the 500 millibar chart looks like midday on Sunday, according to the EPS. Interesting, there's a little shortwave up here, and if that materializes, that could bolster this thread up here a little bit. We'll see how that goes. There's some wind energy in Texas too, and the main wind energy coming around the bend there in Southern California on Sunday. Okay, now we moved to Monday from Minneapolis down to Dallas. Large brush again painted on this 15% risk area. CSU for that same period on Monday, there's the SPC forecast. They extended more to the east. I think that's a reflection of the fact that activity will be moving in that direction later on that night. Remember, all these forecasts, if you read these, this is actually a Monday forecast, but it's valid ending 12Z Tuesday. So most of these I show you are 24-hour forecasts. So it's all day Monday into Tuesday morning. So Monday and Monday night is how to interpret that. Here's the jet stream pattern forecast by the EPS, the main energy just coming into the plains. To me, that would bolster a little more activity here. I didn't check the actual instability charts. Now, there's a ridge of high pressure up here, so that might be kind of hard to overcome, but I think that the overall pattern might be a little more favorable down in this area on Monday. We'll see how that pans out. Tuesday, now this is interesting. The whole thing backed up. And this is just a reflection of the fact, and we should always keep in mind that even when you use ensemble data, things can change 5, 6, 7 days out. Sure, no problem. So this now extends from Detroit through Chicago, through Iowa, Kansas City, Oklahoma City, all the way down to northern Texas, including Dallas. And so this is different because on yesterday I was showing you a severe weather threat there. So this is basically saying, hang on, hold up. The pattern is holding back a little bit and providing more emphasis for these same areas once again. If we take a look at CSU's forecast for that, there's the boomerang that I just showed you, and then this almost exactly matches it. So very interesting pattern. And then the jet stream on Tuesday looks like this. We've got the maximum upper level winds here. This is starting to look this is interesting to me. This is looking a little linear. So we have now a positively tilted trough. Negative would be this way, and usually it is better for low pressure development at the surface. Positively tilted troughs do provide the wind energy, and we can certainly get significant severe weather out of that, and tornadoes. It just depends on the mesoscale conditions and what type of, if you're looking for isolated supercells, this may not be the best setup. But lines that can produce tornadoes, sure, that's very easy to do. Now, one more day, Wednesday. Now, this is the area that is, again, wasn't even really showing up before. Now, from Chicago down through Missouri, Arkansas to Dallas, another risk area. And just to round things out, here's CSU's forecast for that and the upper level pattern. Also, I want you to notice that troughiness out west hasn't really let up. So even though this is going to signal, I think, an ending. Now, Wednesday, whatever this is, might move to the East Coast on Thursday and may require an outlook. But I think there's more to come. And let's look at those NIU outlooks, because these are very important. So this is basically a summation of everything I just showed you. So a higher emphasis in the plains, kind of a bending back toward the east that wants to happen through that period and all those outbreaks. Then the 16th through the 22nd, Texas, Oklahoma, the heart of activity. Some hints that it might be the same kind of thing up here. We'll have to wait and see how much cool, stable air is able to work its way down and shut that off. Again, these are averages for a week, and the week after that almost closes out April, is almost identical to the week prior. Thanks for watching today's edition of Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. This is published every day after the morning Storm Prediction Center update. Also, remember to check that site off on day one because they update it fairly frequently. If you like this video, please like it. Also, you can subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.